So first of all, welcome everybody. Glad you guys decided to join us today. And this is a little bit of a different session that we're going to be doing. It's something we're just starting because of the research that we found. Number one. Number two, we're going to show you some of the components in how to do this in SAMradar, because the one thing that we want to do is understand what happened, number one. Number two, then figure out what we can do about it, right? So when we look at this is the fiscal year 2022 spend summary. So this is all of fiscal year 2022. I included that in this as well, but I have the October summary that I want to review because there's a lot of misnomers out there about federal contracting and what's happening. So I want to make sure you can see what I see. And then I want to ask you what you think you see and what it means. Okay, so first time for everything, right? So here we go. This is all of fiscal year 2022. Now, this is as of 11/8. The reason why this is important is because these numbers are going to change over the course of time as contracting officers update their contract information in FPDS. So if this is a summary of FPDS.gov. So everything that you see here is as of a date, and that as of date is 11/8. Let me make sure we mute everybody right at the moment so that we don't have any crazy feedbacks and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll be glad to, you guys can ask questions along this all the time. Oh, I'm sorry, Rob, I just mutified you. You can unmutify yourself. All right, so what we're looking at, just so everybody can see, this is a breakdown of all the contract awards for fiscal year 2022 that were reported in FPDS.gov. If you're not familiar with that, that is where contracting officers put all of the contracts that they awarded. Now, does this mean that you lost those contracts? Probably so, unless you were one of the 116,501 companies that won. So this is the total vendors. This is the average wins per vendor. This is why we do this. This is why we're all here, is because of this number, almost $600 billion, right? And that will go over $600 billion as those contracts come in, especially from DOD, just regular contracts, and they can be, the big spending things, but the DOD lags by about 120 days. Now, that was for all the propeller heads out there that care about the data and how the data gets done. The reason why we're here is I want to ask what you see. Think about it this way: when it's not reported, first of all, 3.9 million not reported, how many offers they were received, right? So what this is, RFP, offer received, quote received, all those things, these are what these numbers represent. Sometimes they're not reported. In fact, 66% of the time, they're not reported. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But when I talk to contracting officers, the long and short of this is, this not reported is really a 1. Okay, so assume that it's a 1. Every once in a blue moon, you're going to find that it's not a 1. That's the first thing you need to know about this report. The second thing that you need to know about this report is that when you combine these bad boys, 78% of the contracts come up as number 1 as far as the number of contracts. And then this is also for this one, it's 60% of the dollars. So 78% of the contracts with 60% of the dollars. And then the rest of these, when you add all of these up, are 89% of the contracts are awarded to one of 5 companies. Now, this should start retooling the way that you're thinking. And I want to know what you're thinking when you see this. How in the world does this happen when your contracting officers say that everything is put out on SAM.gov as an opportunity? If you talk to a contracting officer, that's the number one thing they're going to say: watch SAM.gov. How does this happen? I'd like to hear from you guys. What does this mean to you that if you add all of this up, 89% have 5 or fewer competitors?
These are the contracting officers that already give out the contract even before it is on the SAM.gov.
Oh, you're kidding me. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Okay, let's hear from somebody else. Who
Rob,
else wants to chime in on this?
This is Norris.
Hey, Norris.
Question. This does include all sole source justification numbers, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
That's one way it happens, doesn't it, Norris?
Yes, sole source justification.
So sole source justifications, sole source for 8A, right? Or any of the socioeconomic categories, the vast majority of the sole source for socioeconomic go through 8A. That's another way it happens. How else does it happen, folks? What does it mean? Because you still need them to know about you if you're an 8A, right? Or you're doing justification and approval, right, Norris?
That's correct.
They're not going to find you, are they?
The thing is, if you don't have customer familiarity or customer whatever, you're not going to be able to be in the ball game. If they don't know you, in other words.
There it is. This right here tells us that they know. In the vast majority of cases, there's always an outlier, right?
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, is it Sakina? Is that how you say that? I'm sorry, Sakina. Sakina, your win is an outlier because they bought on price and they didn't care where it came from. The rest of the time, these companies let the buyer know who they were, and they have a buyer relationship. Norris, am I right?
Absolutely.
So if that's true, so then if that is true, what is our job? What's our number one job?
To build relationships.
You got to build relationships. And if you don't believe me, you will live here your entire life. And I don't want to spend any time in this area. Me personally, I don't want to spend any time in this area because I don't have time. Listen to me. I don't have time to be a 90% loser or 92% loser. I don't have time for it, and you don't have time for it. Therefore, if we know that this is true, that people will lie to you, everybody. Will people lie to you? People are going to lie. They will lie to you, and they're going to say, I post everything on SAM.gov. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Not true. You know it's not true because of this right here. You know it of this right here. Right? So then we can talk about, go ahead, what you got? Anybody got anything else they want to throw in on that?
Hey, we have a couple comments. One, Talk Money Coach says sources thought they not having to post, and then contractors are not completing the RFP process accurately. That was from Gene Chris.
That's the other reason you can get booted out, because if your offer is received, but it's booted out, right? So that could, I still say, if you're not filling out your stuff right, that's another problem. If you're not responding properly, that's another problem. But this problem is before that problem, isn't it, Norris? This problem is before the response problem. Because if you don't know who they are, they can't know who you are.
Correct. Therefore,
You're not going to be one of the 5 that's even considered because they're putting it out. They can do this legally. Ladies and gentlemen, know this. If you walk away from anything, they can do it legally. How do you know they can do it legally? Because they're doing it every day. Right here. This is the report. They're doing it every day. They can do it with justification and approval. They can do it with an unsolicited proposal, which is literally zero competition.
Yeah.
They can do it with a socioeconomic set aside choice of 2. We're woman-owned, or now sole source for woman-owned, hub zone, and service disabled. Not happening very often because they're not used to it. Too much risk right now, but it's not risky for them to go out to 3 or 4 or 5 small businesses and or large businesses because it's not restricted. This is the way business is being done. Now, there's a wheel that they want to put you on in the government. They want to put you on this wheel of non-decision makers. Right? Who are the decision makers that we need to reach? Anybody want to know? Everybody know that answer? Who knows? Who are the decision makers we need to reach?
Purchasing officers.
Contracting officers, who else? Who else? Anybody?
Program managers.
Program managers, great. Those are the primary two. Program managers say, I need something. They throw it over the fence to procurement people. Contracting officers say, I gotta buy this for these guys. And what are they doing? Looking at these numbers, what are they doing? They're going to who? Who are they going to?
People they know.
People they know. So our number one job, first of all, we got to figure out who we need to know because there's 77,000 active contracting officers, right?
Right.
How you do that? That's like a crazy thing. This is what makes it so challenging because it's so big. But if you start to break this thing down, this is the magic coming up. So does everybody agree that before we move on, does everybody agree that we want to be one of the five? That's our job, to be one of the five. And the way we get to be one of the five is they need to know who we are. Number one thing, they got to know we exist. We're not going to be wallflowers anymore. We register on SAM.gov, so they're going to find us. Wrong. We have a GSA contract. They're going to find us. Wrong again.
Wrong.
We got our 8A. They're going to find us. Wrong again. We have got to get proactive, and we need ways to be able to do this. Everybody agree? Anybody disagree with that? Now you can say it's not fair, and you can say it should be, they should do what they're supposed to. Listen, you and I, when I wake up in the morning, I am conflicted. Because when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I wish GSA would get their act together and build systems that work, like SAM.gov. Don't you wish that would work? Just a little? Or at least a little better? FBO was better. Everybody, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you're too new. But let's just say this. I agree with you. And we can complain, and we can go to Congress, and we can complain and complain and complain and complain, and we can complain till we're blue in the face and still lose. So this is not the loser's mindset. We're going to get out of that, and we're going to get into the winner's mindset. So here's in this report that I put in there, and I'm going to pop it in again because I don't know if everybody can see it. I know sometimes in Zoom. So this is the report I'm looking at. Everybody gets it for free. Get it for free just for showing up. How about that? So then we talk about the vendor wins, and I'm going to talk about this we're going to come back to later. But these are the winners of all the contracts in fiscal year 2022 that ended September 30th as of what day? As of 11/8. So this is going to change a little bit over time, but it's pretty much set. So you get, this is what we're after, the UEI. So I'm giving you the UEIs. This is really very important to you. It's more important than you know. Your competitors that you want to displace, the ones that you want to disrupt, are right here on this chart, right here. So we want to know this. The reason I'm giving you these is because I'm going to tell you what to do with them in a few minutes. Then I'm going to talk about this October spend summary because we see the same kind of activity here. 81% of the contracts, right? And 95% of the dollars. This blew my mind. This was the most ever, by the way, the most ever that I've seen in the past 15 years. This percentage, ridiculous. Is everybody tracking with me? And there were 16,561 vendors that won in October, and they're telling you we're operating under continuing resolution. We don't spend any money. Liar, liar, pants on fire, 13.7 billion. Just saying. Now, a lot of that's already allocated. Yes, you're right. A lot of it. But there's still money to be made. Everybody grasping this? So these 16,561 companies split this 13.7, almost 13.8 billion. Everybody tracking with that? And this is your average win for these guys. Now, anybody here one of these 16,561 that got dollars in October? Anybody here? Just raise your hand if you are. Anybody raise your hand? All right, I gotta mute some folks here because there's anyway, okay, who is that? Cassidy Jones. Let me get you, Cassidy. What did you win in October, Cassidy?
Oh, no, I thought you said if we were ready to win. No, I have not won anything. Sorry.
All right, and you
I was ready.
okay.
I'm ready.
You're ready to, yeah. That's the okay. I love that. That's a better question. That's a better leading question for a salesperson, isn't it? So now I wanted to know if there's anybody that's won this, because I'm going to tell you, if they won it, the chances are, what were they? They were one of the 5. The chances are 81% of the chance that they're one of the 5. Now, everybody here is probably here because you're not one of the 5. Congratulations. We're all in the same boat. No stress. We're all in the same boat. So the other thing I wanted to do is say that this is all split by the NAICS. So everybody knows about NAICS codes. In the course of this, you're going to learn, or if you come back ever again, or if you're on SAMradar, I promise you, you're going to learn about new things. One of those is PSCs, is Product Service Code. You're going to want to know about that. Don't stress out about it now. The objective right now is to say, all right, let's go with what they're expecting, where you're registered in SAM.gov, so that you can start to see what's happening in your marketplace different than you ever did. Because guess what? You never saw any of those on SAM.gov. So you're probably saying, well, how am I supposed to get to those? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? You should be saying that, because that's what I was thinking back in 2009 when somebody introduced me to this whole stuff. And I'm like, I want to be one of these 16,561. Now, you're probably not going to be the number 16,562 tomorrow. This is a process. Sakina was talking about it earlier. She's been doing this for decades. Decades. If it was fast, easy, and cheap, everybody be able to do it. If GSA did their job and they made it easier for us to be able to compete for these, everybody, we wouldn't all be sitting here trying to figure out, right? So here we go to the things that we want to know. I'm gonna show you something. I haven't even looked at my SAMradar this morning, but I'm gonna open it up and I'm gonna pull it right over. Rob, you got to tell me if you can see stuff, because I literally cannot tell what you can see right now.
That's it right there, Dave.
All right. So there's 2 things that, first thing, does everybody agree? We definitely want to see the opportunities. That's fine. The ones that's hit SAM.gov, we all want to see those. We all want to be able to know that those are hitting the street, and we want to know as soon as humanly possible so we can respond and we have as much time to respond. That's one thing. We'll talk about that later. Today, what I want to talk about is reinforcing, not only are you going to be able to see this, the system will learn you, and the system will tell you what to do today based on what you see. Now, my question to you is, how many people are after the buyer directly? How many want to sell directly to the government? And how many people want to sell to and sub to the prime? So there's 2 different models, and maybe you want to do both. So pop that in the chat and let me know what you want to do. You want to do both. Cassidy wants to do both. Who else? So then my next question is, what do we want to concentrate on first? Both. Love it. And most people are going to say both, because sometimes you're beating each other up and competing against each other, and other times you're teaming together so that you can win with a better solution, right? So sometimes you just want to sub. They'll sub to you, you sub to them. Money's green, right? Money's green. So let's take a look at this. First things first, you might see something like $0. What could that possibly, anybody know what that might be? And Cheryl says, prime first. Okay, prime first. Helen says prime. Okay. And then Cheryl says, depends on the opportunity. I love it. So can anybody tell me why you would ever see something for $0? Anybody know? Anybody?
Yeah, that means, like here, it shows a BPA that was awarded with no task on it. So
that's right.
It's in place now, so they can issue task against it.
And what does that mean for every task order or call that's made on a BPA? What does that mean for does anybody else get to see it?
Nope, it's sole source.
It's sole source. From then on, it's sole source. Everybody here, number one thing that we want to do is develop a BPA. Anybody want to argue with me? I will throw down on this one, because I'm telling you, this is what we want to be able to do. Your competitors are doing it right now. and your competitors are in front of you, they already have it. And your job is to go noodle your way in to get some of that, right? So we have, let's see, hold on a second. Depends on the opportunity. Prime first. Okay. So there's a couple different things I want to show. Here's this number of offers received. Look familiar? Here's the next thing. Number of offers received. Not shown up. Look familiar? Here's one for 17,000. Number of offers received, 5. Look familiar? Here's another one, 74,000. Number of offers received, 3. Let's look some more. 33,000 and change, 5. Here's one here, 4.9 million offers received, 7. What are the chances that hit the street? Or it could be part of a larger IDIQ, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contract, where there's multiple awardees. That's the other thing that can happen, right? You can have a blanket purchase agreement or a multiple award contract that they can buy and cycle that through those vendors. That's the other way that can happen. Here's 111,000. No, don't know who it is. All right, so I just wanted to give you the overview. Now, every day, the system is going to bring you, do you want to have to look at 17 to 25,000 contracts a day? Just everybody shake your head no right now. No, you don't want to. You want a way to be able to narrow that down to say what's important to me, who's most important in my space, and give me an action item that I can do right now to make a difference over the course of time so these people can know me. So there's a couple different things. I'm gonna go back up to the top. Let's look at this for just a minute without even going out of this system, right? And there's a reason why we do this in email, because you live in email and so do these guys. Alexander Roberts with Department of the Navy. This is the person that awarded this BPA. And oh, by the way, it matched on this is the NAICS code, right? So that's very broad. This is a broad look. Now, everybody tracking how that got here? So the system went through and said, okay, well, of all the things that happened in this NAICS code, Alexander Roberts bubbled to the top because Alexander Roberts is one of the most active people in this NAICS code right now, because the system's saying, hey, you need to reach out to Alexander Roberts right now. If you want to go after the buyer directly, watch this. This is the only magic thing I'll show you. Look at this. What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about the award to Software Information Resource Group. When? On the 30th of October. That was a couple weeks ago. But this bubbled up to the top because this guy said, we said, this is playing in your space. This is actually going back. Normally it's the next day. Normally we find that out. So somewhere along the line, this got updated or something and said, hey, this matters to you because this guy is really rocking and rolling in this NAICS code. I want to talk with you. And your message is, you need to have dialogue. And he doesn't want your capability statement yet. He doesn't care about you yet. You want to get dialogue with him. Let me talk with you about this Software Information Resource Group, this corp. And what's your preferred contract vehicle? You know, I have to do off of BPAs. I have to do off of this IDIQ. I go buy off of GSA. So this is the information that we want to pull the thread on. And we can do this no matter who and how these things come in. Here's one that's all other professional science. What does that mean? By the way, what all other? But there's a BPA. You know, it's a BPA, right? And you know that this Caitlin O'Connor from the Navy is rocking and rolling with TriMet. Same thing with Bearcats Leases. This is for hotels. Now we're monitoring other things, so we're a little bit broader, but let me tell you something. It will get smart about you. And what we wanted to do is say, tell me what to do today. I want to reach out to Michelle Klug, or I want to reach out to the prime contacts. Now you're going to have to log into SAMradar for this one, I promise you, because when we do this, this is where we go in and we say, oh, here are the contacts at the vendor that we want to team with. What is your action item for the day? Your action item is, I want to talk with you about the contract that you won with Michelle Klug with the VA on the 3rd. There is your, that's the thread that we want to pull. Is everybody tracking with me? This system is not built like anything you've ever seen. This system is built so that you can turn this thing upside down and turn it into a sales engine. And think about this. If you have one a day, in 30 days, you got 30 people you got to follow up with. If you have 3 a day, you got 90 people that you got to follow up with. So you're going to be going through these and you're going to say, hey, I got to reach out to these folks. I got to reach out to these folks because the money is there. Now, this is already an award. So you're not going to Michelle and saying, hey, I want to compete on this one. No, it's already awarded. Now, am I calling you a loser? No, I'm not calling you a loser. I'm saying that you lost. And these are the winners. If we go back to this report, right? The whole methodology about this is we need to be one of the 5. You weren't one of the 5. We know Monarch was one of the 5. There's 3 other ones. You weren't one of the 5. You need to be one of the 5. Hey, Michelle, I can't knock your socks off, Michelle, if you don't let me play. I can't play if I don't know. And you're not going to let me play if you don't know me. So let's spend just a couple minutes that you know that I deserve to at least play. Let me play. If I promise, if I don't knock your socks off, kick me to the curb, and I will never talk to you again if I jack it up, ever. But I'm telling you, I really want to work with you, Michelle. Let me play.
Now, Dave, we have a response in the chat. Can you walk through what that conversation looks like? The initial reach out to them.
You bet. In fact, we've been working on this, and so everybody knows we launched this. We launched this about 3 months ago. And is anybody on SAMradar now? Anybody want to raise their hand? It's on SAMradar now. This is great if nobody is.
I just heard, door slamming. Oh, I actually had my side window open, the one on the side where the television at.
Hey, Steven, all right. Hey,
the wind blew.
I'm muting Steve. All right, here we go. So let's talk about this. Let's say you have a similar project that you want to propose to them. You want to play with them. So I'm reaching out to schedule a quick review of the contract that you made with Monarch Medical Technologies LLC. Monarch on when? On 11/3. I'm available either to tomorrow or next Wednesday. Because I'm working on a similar project and I could use your insight on how you came about procuring that. I'll be glad to send a calendar invite. Do you prefer team or Zoom? Right? And then put your signature in, and your signature should always have the rest of your information that says you belong, your cage code, your UEI, any of your contract vehicles, all that stuff. That's another thing. But at the end of the day, this is your first touch. Remember, listen to me. Michelle Klug's not going to marry you on the first date. I promise you, she didn't marry Monarch Medical Technologies on the first date either. So let's call this like it is. This is a courting relationship. It's the first time that you get to be able to talk to Michelle. You don't want to show up and throw up on everything that you do. Sure. What you want to do is you want to engage her, make sure that she's willing to give you the dialogue. And then you're going to have people that are going to say, well, they're not going to talk to you. You're right. A lot of them aren't going to talk to you. Guess what? They're already not talking to you. You're not losing jack by reaching out. But I tell you what you do gain is because who else has access to Michelle, by the way? Monarch has access to Michelle every freaking day. And they can go back to this well as many times as they want to build this relationship, as well as a relationship with the program managers, because they're already in under the tent. You're not. We've got to crack the door. Everybody tracking me on this? Is this making sense to everybody? And we want to get everybody out of here as quickly as possible. But I'm going to tell you this. All I wanted to do today is say, this system is different. It will learn as you use it. You'll say, man, and Rob, can this system send out emails?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We can send out emails.
We can send out a bazillion emails. In fact, if you sign up on a very broad NAICS code and you're monitoring opportunities, let's say you're doing engineering services, if you do that, you're going to get 300 emails in a day. You might not want 300 emails in a day. This system, what I'm talking about right now, you can spend as much time as you want on opportunities. Not a bad place to be. You definitely want to be paying attention. This is the other 98%. This is the other 98%. Is everybody tracking with me on that? So Radar helps procure the exact people to help to talk to. The key is ROI. I agree. The key is ROI. ROI, I can tell you that every one of the people that are here, does anybody have a guess as to how much the average is for each one of these people that show up on SAMradar? How much the average is that these guys spend in a given day and a given year? Anybody have any idea how much these people are worth? Anybody want to take a guess? Sakina says over $1 billion. 3 million, Cassidy. Is it individual people? Go ahead, Cassidy, go ahead. You got it. You're close. Closer. It's not over $1 billion. Some of them are over $1 billion. Some of them do $1 billion just themselves. And there's plenty of space in here, by the way. If you want to drill down into things in SAMradar, there's all kinds of things that you can do to drill down into activity in SAMradar. My recommendation to you is don't do it. Don't let your propeller head turn on and get into the weeds of all the things that, and finding all these new contacts. Look at this. We got 2 new contacts right here with the VA, of which you can see their history too. You can do a lot of things. Don't get sucked into all of this. There's a whole lot of power. All you want to do is turn this into an action item. So you're reaching out, very simple, reaching out to the buyers to say, hey, I want to play. There's a lot of other things you can do too. You can reach out to the primes. You can ask the buyer for a referral to the program people. You can ask what they're coming, whether they have anything. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do. But the first thing you need to know is that this person will be willing, most likely, to talk about a contract that was in their wheelhouse. That's the thread that we want to pull. Is everybody tracking with that? So we can certainly do a live demo if you want to. You can hop on with an individual question. Do you have any questions about this? Because we want you to get off of here and get to some real work done today. It's a quick intro to say, look, sign up, you get 7 days for free. That's the first thing. And I'm telling you, if you do it, you lock in the price, because as soon as we get through the end of this year, that price is not going to be $249 anymore. And the additional features that are coming, I promise you, you will be able to benefit from, and you will not have to pay any more because you're one of the first ones that sign up in this year. And that's my commitment to you. And anybody that knows me, you're going to get to know me a lot from this stuff, because the process that we're talking about is getting to be very simple. It's a very simple process. We need to be one of the 5. If we're not one of the 5, we're not in the green. We're in the red. We want to be in one of the 5. So get signed up, SAMradar.com, 7 days for free. You will see that the system works. That's all you want to see. Can the system do what I ask it to do? That's what you want to know. And then the second thing you want to know is, are we willing to help you narrow and make this system work for you? You will find that out because you're going to talk to our folks. You talk to Rob, you talk to Zachary, talk to some other people on our staff, because we want to make sure you get to where you want to go. That's all we want. And this is different. So get signed up, and you already have the report. Is that report still there? Let me pop that. There it is. For those of you who didn't get that report, download this report. It's all right here, because the other thing we're going to talk about is what you can do with competitors. You can monitor every single one of these sons of guns, and then you can see the buyers every time they get an award. You can go and say, I'm going to talk to that buyer about this award because I want to punch these guys in the mouth and steal their business. That's what that's for. That'll be for next week, or you sign up. That's going to happen today because you're going to find a couple of these and we're going to put them in and you're going to monitor. And every time they get an award, you're going to know. And then what can you do? You can act. Once you see that they got the award, you're reaching out to Robert, you're reaching out to Michelle, you're reaching out to John, you're reaching out to Karen. Well, look at this one. Look at this one. $8.2 million for the MITRE Corporation. Did anybody ever see it with a VA? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. Now you do. This is exactly what MITRE Corporation and none of these other guys on this list, these guys do not want you to be looking at this. They want you to quit. They want you to give up. That's all I got. Thanks for stopping by, guys. And if anybody wants a copy of the recording, let me know. I will probably pipe it out to everybody. I think everybody had to register. You're welcome, Gene. This is different, isn't it, Gene? This is different. So get signed up, SAMradar.com. And I promise you, by the end of this week, you will have leads in your email. I'm telling you, you're going to have leads today, tomorrow. If you sign up today, you'll have leads today. You have more leads tomorrow because the system's going to learn. And over the course of the next 90 days, you will have over 100 people to be talking to that are swimming in your pool, as I would say. Right, Rob?
You got it.
Yeah, buddy. Well, I appreciate you guys stopping by. Thanks for joining us. We're going to let you guys get out of here. If you have any last minute things that you want to ask me, go ahead and ask, and then we'll get you out of here. Anybody got a question, comment? You're welcome. Helen, I'm glad you think it's interesting. And back to the ROI. Everybody can expect over 100x ROI with SAMradar every year. That's what you can expect. 100x. There you go. Anybody else? I love it. All right, guys, we'll get you out of here. Thanks for joining us.